This is where it gets weird. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Jacy and I have a Bumble horror story for you. Now, I actually filmed this video last weekend and I was gonna make it 2 short stories into 1 video. Kind of make it a longer video, but have 2 semi-related stories within it. And then the whole freaking first video was filmed completely out of focus. I was a little devastated, but the entire second story was in focus. So that's what this video is gonna be, just that second story. So if you wanna see that first story that I told that was a little bit related to this, let me know in the comments below and I can make another short video with that story. So another part that was filmed that was out of focus was a disclaimer that I had that was basically about the fact that this story was from about 3 years ago when I first really entered the dating game. So I was in a very long relationship. We'd been together for 8 years and I was single for the first time, kind of navigating these dating apps and these social relationships for the first time. Because of that, I did things that I would not do today in terms of not directly communicating how I felt about this person. If I wasn't interested, I was kind of just like leading them on and not being very direct that I wasn't interested. I also didn't stand up for myself a lot back then, whereas I've grown so much in confidence over the years that how I acted in these situations does not reflect how I am now. I think it took those years of dating and these bad story times to kind of learn how I want to be communicated with and thus how I should communicate with others. So just a little disclaimer because this story kind of involves some frustrating actions on my part, but I feel like that's important to note that this was from 3 years ago. Another thing I wanted to note was this story did not actually result in a date. I never actually went on a date with this person. This was just a wild, wild story of us in the talking phase. So that's another important thing to note, that I don't want to call this a date horror story. It's just a Bumble horror story in general. So just wanted to let you guys know since that whole filmed part was not usable. So I'll quit blabbering and I think we should just get into the Bumble horror story. I always say all my worst Bumble horror stories were from the very beginning of when I started dating about 2.5 years ago, because I was just so new to the game that I didn't understand it all, that I didn't take all the necessary precautions, things like that. So that's why I don't have very many recent ones, because I feel like I've learned from my mistakes. This is another example of that. Carlos was a person who super swiped me on Bumble. And it was the very first super swipe I had gotten, and I was like, whoa, what does this mean? And if you don't know, a super swipe on Bumble basically means somebody is paying money to let you know that they're interested in you. And so when they do that, they pop up to the very front of your queue when you're swiping, and it says, this person super swiped you. So I remember seeing that and going like, what does this even mean? I looked it up, and then upon realizing that they paid money to talk to me, I thought I kind of owed it to them to initiate that conversation. Note to anybody else out there, you do not need to feel obligated to do that. You do not have to say yes just because they paid money to talk to you. No questions asked. But at the time, I did. I was not attracted to this person. I wasn't really like interested in them. It was more of like the, oh, I feel bad. I'm kind of obligated to at least say hi and then maybe kind of like let them know I'm not interested, or hopefully make them not interested in me. That's just what it was. That's just what it was at the time. So I swipe yes and I'm like, hi Carlos, how are you? Not doing my cool usual like pickup lines or like my cutesy flirting, just being like, I was trying to be as dry as possible so that they'd want to ghost me. If you know, you know. It was a tactic I was trying at the time. I don't do that anymore because I don't feel obligated anymore, but that's just what I was trying to do at the time. Just trying to be honest here. So we're talking typical stuff. Where do you work? What do you like to do for fun? And when you're not that interested in somebody, you do not respond quickly. You take as long as possible in between messages. You hopefully are very busy, but you just let them know, I'm so busy. Like it's gonna take me a while to message you back. If they like you, they'll make time. If they don't like you, they'll do what I did, and that's just take days to respond. Which is not good. But so this guy and I are talking just like over a course of like a few weeks, but really in those few weeks, not that many messages were sent. I thought he'd stop talking to me and he didn't. And again, I should have stopped talking to him or let him know I wasn't interested. The issue I was having was I was trying to stop talking to him and he would send me a message every 2 days. Like he would double text and triple text every single day. Good morning, Jacy. how was your day? The issue I was having is that he would text me, or message me on Bumble, I should say, every day, but it wasn't questions. It was the same thing every day. It was just, good morning, Jacy. And this is kind of like where I started to notice a pattern. So every single day was the same. Good morning, Jacy. How's your day going? And I would say, pretty good. Work's pretty busy. How about you? And then he kind of started this narrative of like, well, it was okay. It's been kind of rough for me. My dad isn't doing too well. I've been kind of struggling mentally, that sort of thing. And so I would go, oh, I'm really sorry to hear that. Not ask a question back. I'd wait 2 days. And in the meantime, I would get more messages from him like, good morning, Jacy. How was your day? I'd wait a day, never text back. Hey, Jacy, hope your Tuesday's going great. So at this point, again, it was that feeling of obligation that like, oh my gosh, like I feel bad because he's not doing well mentally, that I just felt like a little bit of pity, you know? So I would just take days to message him back. I would say, oh, I'm doing well. How have you been doing? Oh, not great. Like my dad's getting worse and worse and work's kind of going pretty hard for me. And then I started noticing, I think you just want somebody to vent to. You're not interested in me. He never asked like, want to go out on a date. It never got to that point. It was just like, I'd love to meet you someday, but also here's all the crazy things going on in my life. Just like very sad, emotional things. And I was not prying. I was not asking additional questions. I was just not interested in that. It just kind of felt like he wanted me to be his therapist and I was not about it. So again, this is a situation where I wish I would have taken more screenshots, but I do have some screenshots, so I'll share them. So there was one point where I was taking a trip to New York City to go visit my sister, and I told him, hey, I'm going to New York. I will be gone for a week. I'm not gonna be messaging you back because I'm gonna be busy hanging out with my sister and being on vacation. So I'll message you when I get back. He messaged me every single day, and I don't have that screenshot, which I'm so mad, but just know, he messaged me every single day, multiple times a day. Hey, Jacy, hope you're having a great time. Hey, Jacy, how's New York going so far? Hey, Jacy, miss you. Can't wait to meet you in person when you come back. Just all of these things. And there was at one point where I was just like, hey, I'm doing well. I'll message you back in a few days. Continued to message me every day. Oh my gosh, this guy's either so desperate, so sprung on me, even though he's never even met me, or just like I was the only person who was answering him. You know, that's kind of the feeling that it was giving me. Here we go. So I told him, I'll message you back when I get back in a few days. And he says, sounds great. Good morning. Hope you're having a great time in NYC. Again, I didn't message. Then 5 days later, he said, how's New York City? And I said, this was when I was actually back. I said, got back late last night. Now the hard part of catching up at work. Haha. How are you? This is where it gets weird. He says, nice. I hope you had lots of fun and you'll catch up on that work in no time. I'm doing as good as I can be. My dad actually passed away on Thursday afternoon and tomorrow we are having his funeral service in Pomona. I don't mean to laugh. I don't mean to laugh, but can we just unload this really quickly? So here's this guy who I've never met. I am super shallowly, surface level communicating with him. We didn't even get to like favorite movies kind of stuff because every day was just the same. How are you? Not great. And that's the extent of all of our conversations. The fact that he would message me like, oh, you'll catch up. I'm doing as good as I can be. My dad died. What? What? I had so many thoughts. My first thought is that, oh my gosh, why are you telling me? Why are you telling this random girl on Bumble that his funeral is tomorrow? Why are you messaging me? Shouldn't you be grieving? Shouldn't you be dealing with that? Messaging family, worrying about the funeral, all of the next steps when a family member passes away? Why are you still trying to get at me right now in this point in your life? If it was followed up with like, hey, just want to let you know my dad passed away. I'm going to take some time to myself. That's what you should do. You shouldn't be messaging trying to get girls on a dating app. I was also so offended that he was trying to come at me, trying to be like his therapist. Because again, I don't know you. I owe you no emotional support. I think that is the main thing here. I owe you no kind of therapy. I do not offer you as a person who you can vent to. You don't know me and I am not emotionally available to allow you to do that because I don't know you. So my first initial thought was just kind of like the audacity that he would I don't know, just kind of the approach he was taking. My second thought, actually, let me wait to tell you my second thought, because this is what happened after that. I didn't message him back right away because I didn't know what to say, because I was dealing with this thoughts of like, are you kidding me? Why are you telling me this? I'm so sorry, but you have bigger things to worry about than talking to me. So I didn't message him back for a day. So then the next day he says, I hope to see you soon. On the day of his father's funeral, he is telling me, I hope to see you soon. That's where I got thought number two, and I thought, is that even real? Was your dad even sick, and did he fake pass away? Because how could you, on the day of your father's funeral, message a girl who you've barely been talking to that you can't wait to see her? So I did respond at this point. I said, I'm so sorry to hear that, Carlos. My deepest condolences are with you, and I hope the funeral goes well. Now, to me, that was true. If it was true, I did feel so bad. I did hope the funeral went well, and I just wanted to send my condolences. What I also strategically did in that message was not leave any kind of room for conversation. I didn't want to say, how did the funeral go? I said, I hope it goes well, just kind of leaving it at that. Because to me, I'm going to sound like a broken record. You shouldn't freaking be messaging me if your father just passed away. So then that same day, again, same day as the funeral, I guess, he says, it went very well. A lot of people came. I was happy about that. That's it. I wasn't going to respond again. I didn't need to explain myself because I feel like you should go grieve. You have a lot of things to deal with right now. You have way too much emotional baggage that it was like, I don't feel comfortable breaking up with you right now. It was more of the sense of like, my deepest condolences with you. Good luck. That was the message I sent. So then the next day he says, what are you doing today? The next day after his father's funeral, he sent me a you up text. And then the day later, of course I didn't respond. He says, good morning, Jacy. Sunshine, heart. I don't know, you guys. I'd love to hear your thoughts on if you think this is real or not, because I can't believe that he would try to meet up with me the day after his father's funeral, because that to me is selfish on his part, that he would basically be using me to vent, to talk about all of his issues, to explain his emotional trauma, how the funeral went, how his dad died, all of that kind of stuff. I am not interested in that. I'm trying to date and have fun. I don't want to do that. So now I'm wondering, and to this day I still don't know, do you think he did that because he wanted me to pity him more, go on this date with him because his dad just died, so oh my gosh, I have to be there to comfort him and rub his back and tell him everything's okay? Do you think his dad actually died? Because to me, those are not the words of somebody whose father just passed away. Those are not the actions and the flirtationship of somebody whose dad just passed away. I just couldn't believe it. I still to this day don't know what to believe. But what ended up happening was he continued to message me, I think 3 more times, and I never messaged back, and then he unmatched me. Now, epilogue to that one, he unmatched me. So what happens when you unmatch somebody as opposed to just like never deleting them from your messages is that they actually go back into your queue. So I kid you not, you guys, the reason why I remembered I wanted to do this video was just recently I was in my parents' hometown visiting them, which is where I was at the beginning of this story when I was still living at home with them. And I got super swiped by Carlos. And I'm devastated. I said no because I went, ah, that's the crazy guy whose dad died. Like, no way. And I kind of wish, no, I don't wish, because I'm not that kind of person to mess with somebody, to get answers, get closure. I really don't care. That was so many like years ago at this point that I'm not even interested in that. I just knew he was the biggest red flag, like one of them that I've ever come across, that I didn't even want to get into that boat again. Because, you know, he would always message me. Why would I want to do all that again or yell at him for it? Not my style. But I just think it's funny that even though I ghosted him and made it very clear that, hey, you have a lot of stuff going on, good luck, that he would still pay money to let me know he was interested. Oh, poor guy, poor Carlos. But again, I always like to give a little message to the wise with these videos. If you're going through a big traumatic event like that, you do not need the emotional support of people on dating apps. And frankly, that's pretty selfish of you to try to put that emotional baggage on them and have them help you through it. Don't do that. And for anybody else, if you're getting super swiped, don't feel obligated to answer them. That's part of the dating game. It's more of just the risk you take that if you want to pay money to let somebody you know, you have to understand that they may not be as interested and you cannot take that personally. So that's the message of that. So those were just 2 quick Bumble horror story times. I hope you guys learned something from them. And again, please let me know if you guys think the dad thing was fake. I still don't know, and I don't know if I'll ever know, but I'm curious to know what you guys think. But thanks for sticking around with me, and through all of these weird lighting changes, it's getting so bright, but you know, I'm trying my best. But I thank you guys so much for watching. If you like this video, I'll link some of my previous story times in the description box below. Make sure to check those out because those are pretty funny and are actually some of my most popular videos here on YouTube. So definitely check those out. But I will see you guys next time. Toodles! Oh my God, that was a mistake because he didn't call me after that because he knew I wasn't gonna answer, but the text came flooding in. He, in all caps, just like, are you effing kidding me right now?